ready to really dive deep into presentations, like how to actually be good at them.
Yeah.
Not just get up there and bore everyone to tears.
Sounds fun.
Today we're looking at The Art of the Pitch.
Okay.
It's by Peter Coughter,
Mm-hmm.
and he's this industry veteran who has seen over 10,000 presentations and
Wow.
trained over 4,000 people,
That's a lot.
even basketball coaches on the Nike campus.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, so he's been around the block.
He's seen it all.
And one of the things that I found fascinating about this book is that he doesn't just talk about presentations as like, you're in a boardroom or you're on a stage at a conference.
Right.
He argues that everything is a presentation.
Interesting.
Even something as simple as like grabbing drinks with some colleagues.
Oh, that's a good point. I never thought of it that way. But you're right. Someone is always kind of evaluating you, even in casual settings.
Right. It's like we're always presenting ourselves in some way.
Mm.
So why are presentations so crucial? Well, Cotter shares this anecdote about an agency CEO who actually said that being able to present is the single most important skill you can have.
Really? That's a bold statement.
It is, but when you think about it,
Mm.
a great presentation, it can get you a job.
Sure, it can get you a promotion.
It can win you clients.
It can really propel your career forward.
Absolutely. And, presentations aren't just about, like, data and logic.
Okay.
Cotter really delves into the emotional aspect, which I think is often overlooked.
Yeah, for sure.
He argues that you need to connect with your audience emotionally to truly persuade them.
So it's not enough to just have the facts and figures.
Right. You need to make them feel something.
And how does he suggest doing that?
Well, he uses this great example in the book. He talks about this presenter who was pitching to the Mercedes team.
Okay.
And instead of, hitting them with all these technical specs,
Right.
he actually connected their struggles to a story about a policeman and a lost key.
Interesting. So he used storytelling to make it relatable.
Exactly. And it worked because by tapping into that emotional connection, he made the presentation memorable.
It makes sense. People remember stories.
They do. But how do you tailor your story to the right audience? I mean,
That's a good question.
you can't just tell any story.
Exactly. You have to know who you're talking to.
Right. Well, Cotter emphasizes the importance of understanding your audience. He shares this experience of pitching to Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Okay.
And he did his research and found out that all four of the decision makers had military backgrounds.
Wow. So he had to tailor his approach.
He did, and get this, he framed his entire presentation around principles from Sun Tzu's The Art of War.
That's brilliant. Using their language and their shared experiences.
Exactly, and you know what? They won the account.
Of course they did. It shows the power of preparation and adaptability.
Absolutely. Now you might be thinking, okay, so does this mean I have to put on a persona?
Right, like become someone I'm not.
Yeah, Cutter actually addresses this head on. He's a big believer in authenticity.
Oh, I like that. Being yourself.
Exactly. He says the best way to connect with your audience is to just be yourself.
It makes sense. People can spot a fake a mile away.
Right.
Yeah,
He thinks that trying to be someone you're not, it just creates this barrier.
it does. It prevents you from truly connecting.
And speaking of authenticity, Cotter is not a fan of PowerPoint-heavy presentations.
Really? I
That-
mean, a lot of people rely on PowerPoint.
I know, but he actually calls it death by deck.
Death by deck. I've never heard that before.
He thinks that too many slides can actually overshadow the presenter.
So the focus should be on the speaker, not the slides.
Exactly. So how do you avoid death by deck?
That's the question.
Well, Cotter has this solution he calls the ACTION format. It's an acronym that stands for
Let me guess. Attention capsule.
Theme Information Open to Listen.
And next steps.
Yes, that's it. It's basically a framework for structuring your entire presentation.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more about these elements.
Okay, well, attention is all about grabbing the audience's attention from the very beginning.
Right. You don't want to lose them in the first few seconds.
Exactly. Then capsule is like a concise summary of your main message.
Okay, got it.
Then theme. This is the overarching narrative that kind of ties your whole presentation together.
Makes sense. Like a thread that runs through all your points.
Right. Then information is pretty self-explanatory.
Okay, so that's where you present your data and your evidence.
Right. But the key is to present it in a way that's clear and engaging and doesn't overwhelm the audience.
Avoid information overload.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, open to listen. This is about being receptive to your audience.
Okay, so being present and engaging with them.
Right. And finally, next steps. This is where you outline the actions you want your audience to take.
The call to action.
Exactly. So it's a pretty comprehensive roadmap for creating a persuasive presentation.
It sounds like it. But even with a great structure, there's still the element of delivery.
Right. How do you actually deliver the presentation effectively?
How do you engage the audience and make it memorable?
Well, Coughter stresses the importance of rehearsal.
Practice makes perfect.
Exactly. And he even talks about how a seemingly insignificant 15-minute presentation he once gave, unexpectedly, led to a major client win with Riggs National Bank.
Really? That's amazing.
Yeah, it just goes to show you never know what opportunities can come from any presentation.
True. You should always be prepared.
Exactly. And this kind of brings us back to the power of storytelling.
Okay.
Coughter recounts this experience of pitching to NBA Commissioner David Stern.
David Stern. Wow, he's a tough negotiator.
He is. And a seasoned lawyer.
So how did Cotter approach that?
Well, he knew that flashy visuals or gimmicks wouldn't work on someone like David Stern.
Right. He needed something more substantial.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he crafted this really compelling narrative
Okay.
that showcased hard data and insights to demonstrate a deep understanding of the NBA's challenges and opportunities.
And did it work?
It did. He persuaded Stern to change the NBA's advertising approach.
That's impressive.
It shows the persuasive power of a well-structured narrative.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about the importance of authenticity, understanding your audience, and the power of storytelling.
Right.
And we've also touched on Coughter's essaycation format for structuring presentations. But there's so much more to the art of the pitch that we haven't even touched on yet.
Like what?
Well, how to craft a killer opening,
Okay.
how to handle those dreaded Q&A sessions,
Right.
and even how to use visual aids effectively.
Sounds like we have a lot more to discuss.
We do. But before we move on, we want to let our listeners know that at the end of this deep dive, we're going to provide a 10-point summary of all the key insights we cover.
Oh, that's a great idea. It'll be a helpful takeaway for everyone.
Exactly. So stay tuned for that.
I will. So while being genuine is really important, Cotter also stresses the power of a well-crafted opening.
Like setting the stage for a captivating performance.
Precisely, you want to hook the audience right from the start.
Makes sense. But how do you do that?
He suggests starting with a compelling story. Okay.
Or a surprising statistic.
Ooh, I like that.
Or even a thought-provoking question.
To really get them thinking.
Exactly. And humor, when appropriate, can also be really effective.
To break the ice.
Right. It creates a more relaxed atmosphere.
I imagine a bold claim could also grab their attention.
Oh, absolutely. Something that challenges their assumptions.
Or even a controversial opinion.
Yes. It creates that sense of intrigue like, okay, I need to hear more.
And of course, you can't forget about visuals.
Right. A striking image or a captivating video can really set the tone.
For sure. But a strong opening is just the beginning.
True. You need to maintain that engagement throughout the presentation.
And bring it to a satisfying close.
Exactly what's Coughter's advice on crafting a strong closing?
I'm curious too.
Well, he suggests summarizing your main points as a reminder.
Okay.
Or issuing a call to action to motivate the audience.
So they know what to do next.
Right, and ending with a memorable quote.
Ooh, I like that.
Or a thought-provoking question.
To leave them pondering. Precisely. And just like with the opening, a powerful visual can create a lasting impact.
Makes sense. Now, besides structure and delivery, there's also the aspect of connecting with the audience on a personal level.
Right. Building rapport.
How does Coughter suggest doing that?
He recommends sharing personal anecdotes or stories.
To humanize yourself.
Exactly. And humor can also play a role here in creating a more relaxed atmosphere.
I feel like being vulnerable can also be powerful.
Absolutely. Like sharing personal experiences or challenges.
To show that you're human.
Right. It makes you more relatable.
Now, let's not forget about Q&A sessions.
Those can be nerve-wracking.
They can. But Coughter views every interaction as a presentation.
So even the Q&A is an opportunity to shine.
Exactly. So how do you handle these sessions well?
He recommends anticipating questions beforehand and preparing thoughtful responses.
That's smart. Be prepared.
And during the session, listen attentively to each question.
To show respect.
Yes, and make sure you understand the query before responding.
And it's important not to interrupt.
Right, or dismiss any concerns, even if a question seems challenging.
Absolutely.
And if you don't know the answer, just be honest. Admit that you don't know, but offer to follow up later.
Much better than trying to make something up.
Right. And of course, be mindful of everyone's time.
Keep your answers concise.
Now, let's talk about presentation software.
Like PowerPoint?
Yeah. It's pretty ubiquitous these days.
It is.
Yeah.
What are Coughter's thoughts on using it effectively?
He stresses simplicity and visual appeal.
Okay.
Slides should be uncluttered, minimal text, high-quality images.
The less is more.
Precisely. And animations or transitions should be used sparingly.
To avoid distracting from the message.
Right. The presenter should always be the focus,
So it's about using these tools to enhance the presentation.
not to overshadow it.
Now, I think it's helpful to address common mistakes that presenters make.
Oh, yeah. Learn from others' mishaps.
What are some of the pitfalls? Coughter highlights.
One common mistake is reading directly from slides.
Oh yeah, that's a killer.
It instantly disengages the audience.
And what about speaking in a monotone voice?
Another big no-no.
Right, you need to vary your pitch and your pace.
To keep the audience engaged.
What else?
Failing to make eye contact is another mistake.
It creates a disconnect,
Right, and using excessive jargon can be alienating.
especially for those who aren't familiar with the terminology.
Exactly. And fidgeting or pacing nervously conveys a lack of confidence.
And of course, going over time is never good.
It shows disrespect for the audience's time.
And of course, not rehearsing enough can really undermine the whole presentation.
It all comes down to attention to detail.
And a commitment to delivering a polished and engaging experience.
So we've covered a lot.
From structure to delivery to common mistakes.
Right.
What's Coughter's ultimate message about persuasive presentations?
Well, he argues that it goes beyond just like facts and figures, you know.
Okay.
It's about really demonstrating leadership, building trust and inspiring action by sharing like your unique perspective.
So it's not just about informing.
Yeah.
It's about connecting.
It's about making a real impact.
I like that.
Yeah.
And you know what? We promised our listeners a 10-point summary.
Right, we did.
So let's get to it.
All right, so point number 1. Recognize that every interaction is a presentation.
We're always being evaluated, even in casual settings.
Always be on.
Okay, what's number 2?
Authenticity is key.
Be yourself.
Let your personality shine through. Connect with your audience genuinely.
Drop the pretense.
Number 3, know your audience.
Do your research.
Tailor your message to their needs, their interests, their background.
Speak their language.
Anticipate their questions.
Okay, that's 3. What's 4?
Number 4, harness the power of storytelling.
Stories make information relatable.
They create lasting impressions.
Okay, number 5.
Utilize the acquisition format.
Attention capsule theme.
Information open to listen next steps.
I like it. Okay, number 6.
Rehearse, rehearse, rehearse.
Practice makes perfect.
It gives confidence.
Ensures a more impactful presentation.
Number 7, be prepared for unexpected opportunities.
You never know when a small presentation might lead to a big breakthrough.
Always bring your A game.
All right, what's 8?
Embrace the power of emotion.
Connect with your audience on a deeper level.
Emotions drive decisions.
Okay, 2 more.
Number 9, ditch death by deck.
Avoid overwhelming your audience with slides.
The presenter should be the star, not the PowerPoint.
Less is more.
And finally, number 10,
The grand finale.
persuasive presentations go beyond just conveying information.
They're an opportunity to lead to inspire.
To build trust and to share your unique perspective.
That's a powerful message.
It is
Well, there you have it, folks.
our 10-point summary.
From The Art of the Pitch by Peter Coughter.
A great read.
It is. We hope you found these insights valuable.
We hope they help you with your next presentation.
So until next time, keep learning
Keep growing.
and keep presenting with passion and purpose.